IVM.
Hey everybody, quick request once again, if you could help us out by filling out our survey. It's at ivmpodcast.com/survey. This really helps us talk to advertisers about the kinds of people listening to these shows. Really do appreciate your help, and we're going to be doing a random drawing, and we'll be sending out some IVM swag. Hope you enjoy that.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen, yaar, don't be so conservative. Oh boy, today we made it on time. It's a brand new week for those who start work on Monday. We in the entertainment business start on Saturday and then end on Sunday night, so I have nothing to do today. But lovely week, and some bad news already coming in, as it has been all year. Now bird flu is the latest to hit us. So just look around, we've got bird flu. They're going to cull the birds. I'm told they're going to cull over 1 lakh here in Maharashtra as we speak. Was just thinking, maybe we could have done that for COVID right at the beginning and ended the whole thing, or perhaps too insensitive. Maybe not. Just a thought.
Do you wonder what goes inside the mind of an achiever? How do they manage to get back up on their feet in spite of their failures? Do they really do something different? You're absolutely right. Yes, they do. I'm Aditi Surana. Join me every Wednesday and Friday on my show Absolutely Right, where I use my special tool of handwriting analysis, also known as graphology, to interview high performers and study secrets behind their success and personality. You can catch us on the IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you get your podcast from.
All right. It's called Cyrus Says, the daily version. We're live and we introduce to you a royal man, a man whose long locks assures me that he needs no introduction, the one and only Sanjoy Roy. Sanjoy?
Hi, Cyrus.
Hi. Sanjoy, I'm so sorry, but can I just start by saying, is it Sanjoy or Sanjay?
Well, my passport for some bizarre reason says Sanjay, but it is actually Sanjoy.
So the Bengali slant is Sanjoy. That's it,
well,
correct?
Bengali slant will be Sanjoy, but this is Sanjoy.
Let's say it correctly then. Sanjoy it is.
It's actually Sanjoy. So
damn you, man! Oh, I can't spell half and half the name.
It's Sanjoy.
It's Sanjoy! Yeah. Could you Frenchify my name a little bit also to give me some class?
The Ras.
I sound Punjabi, yaar. Who's it, Ras? Come here. No, not working for me. All right, it is Sanjoy. And Sanjoy has been kind enough to join us here, but a little bit about Sanjoy, which I have right here. It's huge, of course, as usual. You're the managing director, why am I telling you? You know that, of Teamwork Arts. You graduated in 1989 after completing a diploma in dance studies. At that point, not such a big skill as it is appreciated now, and or an industry as it is now. I think in the 80s...
I suspect this is the Wikipedia version of it because I never studied anything in dance. That's the other Sanjoy Roy, who's a Guardian writer on dance.
Oh my God, or as the Germans say, mein Gott. Okay, so let's do the blame game as we do in government here. I blame Silvery and Amit because I, as usual, have nothing to do with anything except the actual presentation of the podcast. I stand innocent, Sanjoy. So let's then start from you. You tell us a little bit. We'll start, of course, with the fact that you're the man behind the Jaipur festival, is it?
Yep.
So we'll start with that and then we'll go into your life as quickly as possible. This time we'll do an authentic representation and I will give you so much respect. You will hug and kiss me at the end of the show. So Jaipur Festival, how are these things going to take off now that we are stuck with this social distance and physicality issues?
Well, everything is going to be online, obviously, but we're going to do a small sort of bespoke. That's the new trend word, bespoke, because nobody can get together.
We'll include more people in English writing and you use words like that, which just scare me immediately. Sorry, bespoke?
We'll do a bespoke version of it for about 100, writers and people, etc. Get out of the Zoom format of just a box and try and capture some of the architecture behind.
Critique of our show already, fair enough. Yeah.
and beam it out across the world. Of course, it's also an opportunity. We've seen, Cyrus, we can beat our chest and talk about everything that's fallen apart. But digital has also provided a whole different ballgame for us, certainly. And many of our festivals we've taken online, and the capacity of number of people viewing has just, gone through the roof. And that's been really the exciting thing, that you're not sort of anchored to a geographical space and you're able to beam out to anybody who's interested across the world.
It also helps if your city is not that glamorous and nobody really wants to go there because it takes too long and things like that. Now that's no longer a challenge. So you don't have to go to the Mumbai, Delhi's, Bangalore's, Jaipur's. You can actually go to all kinds of cities and have festivals because you don't actually go there. So I think that's a great idea for people like me who are challenged by so many different things. Sanjoy, I want to get back. I will, of course, talk in length about the festival, but I want to get back to who you really are, since I may have all wrong information, but I'm dying to test it. Now, are you the same Sanjoy Roy who's involved with the White House?
You mean the award from the White House? Yes.
The award from the White House. I didn't want to say anything more until it was correct. So is it correct?
Yeah, that
Yes,
bit is
one-
correct.
Yes, one for us. All right. So can you just say a little bit about that? That's very interesting.
I mean, 32 years ago, we set up a organization for street kids. So
Right.
that was Meera Nair, Meera's mom, and myself. And we look after kids who've, come off the street, have no place to go. So we look after about 9,500 kids here in Delhi and the
Right.
NCR. And many of our kids have taken to the arts. The kids tend to look at me, Bhaiya is in the arts. Arts is good. Therefore, let's do the arts. And I'm like, boss, no, I'll believe you me. Wrong place. But the White House sort of recognized some of that work that we do in the arts. It was a great occasion, but it was quite funny. So I get a call from somebody. And of course, I don't pick it up because I don't know the number.
Give us the administration, put it in perspective, because it's clearly not Trump, who has no sense of
This was Obama. This was Obama's.
There
I
you
think,
go. When the world was good. Huh.
Last year of Obama's, whatever. So I get this call. I don't take the call. The next day, the deputy head at the embassy says, Sanjoy, the White House is trying to call you. So I'm like, my phone says 2 a.m. in the morning. Can you tell them that there's other time zones that exist in the world and perhaps I may pick up the phone? Anyway, they called me at the White House press secretary and they gave me the whole, President of the United States going to. So I'm like, is there a check involved? And they're like, yes, sir. So I said, what's the amount? So they said $10,000.
Wow.
I said, why don't you just post it? I mean, so much easier. And they were like, no, you have to be there in person. So I said, yeah, but $10,000, post a check. I'm cool. Don't
Did
worry.
they pay for the trip?
Send me a certificate. No, they won't pay for anything. So the guys called back again and said, how can you do this? This is the White House president, blah, blah, blah. So I said, hey, I have a great idea. Why doesn't one of our kids come to receive the award? Because that makes much more sense. And this was just after the Commonwealth Games, and some of our kids had got passports because they'd gone to Glasgow, blah, blah, blah. And one of our kids' name was obviously, also of Islamic or of, different.
The plot thickens.
Whatever. And I'm saying, this is the kid who will come. This is his name. Is that okay? Yes, sir. There's no problem. So I said, can you tell the State Department this is his name? Blah, blah. And they say, yes, sir, no problem. I said, you're sure? They said, yeah. So now 25 people have been marked onto that email. He has to go for his visa, 100 calls. And I'm like, do they know that this is his name? His name is Muhammad, blah, blah, blah. Sir, we are the United States of America. We do not in any way discriminate. I'm like, yeah, I get that. I know that. Not a problem. But this is his name. The boy goes to the embassy. They stamp a reject. They say this letter from the President of the United States is a fake. Stamp a rejection. All hell breaks loose. And they're like, now, can you send somebody else? And I said, no, you've traumatized the child. It's not that he wanted to go. If you want him, you take him. If you don't want him, not a problem. That evening, they send a limousine, pick him up from the New Delhi railway station, take him to the embassy, stamp a 10-year visa in his passport. Wow. At which point I'm going, he's going to run away when he gets there. It was quite interesting, the whole experience.
And is it true it ended nicely with him working as help in Obama's house for the rest of his life?
No, he's actually been very successful back home here. But it was very interesting to be there.
It's amazing. So we shouldn't blame Trump for everything. The prejudices and the ridiculous protocol, the red tapeism of the West and us continued well before that. Was already there. Shall we slip quickly into the other things that you've done? I've got too much information of either you or the second Sanjoy Roy who's stolen your name. The 50 theatre productions.
So Cyrus, about the second Sanjoy Roy. So neither of us knew that we were getting each other's emails. So I used to walk into an event in London, say, and the person used to come up and say, you hated my dance. And I'm going, oh my God, now what have I done? What have I said to whom? Because, I'm not a shy boy. And so this carried on for a while till one day I meet Sanjoy Roy, who's Anita Roy's brother, in London. And he says, I've been traveling the world on invitations to you, but that's okay. I've enjoyed every one of them. He had just come back from Brazil on an invitation that somebody had sent from me. And I'm like,
what are you saying? Is that true? You're making it up.
I said, come on, man. Give me a break. I get abused for all the nasty bloody write-up you give. So it was quite funny.
So he's a more cryptic critic, is it?
Well, he's the critic for The Guardian. And in fact, the place, we finally met each other when we took Astad Debu to perform at the Royal Festival Hall. And I'm bringing up Astad because he just passed away.
Last month.
And yesterday was the, memorial, which was beautiful. And that's when we sort of ran into each other's arms and now, of course, we sort of send each other our emails. And there's a third Sanjoy Roy who used to be in Bath. And he used to be a friend of Sue, Shashi Tharoor's former now passed over wife. And so the three of us sort of band together and exchange stuff. And I'm like, I'm not going to jail. That's for you.
You could have started a rock band called Roy's to Men.
Absolutely.
Famous Boys to Men. Could have worked. Is the third guy also from the arts? The third Sanjay Roy?
No, he's a hotelier.
Oh, spoil the entire average of the score here. But I just want one more thing. The Mahindra Excellence in Theatre Awards is him or you?
Me.
Okay, then I have a complaint. I did my first play in 1984-85 and I've still not received it. The prize. Why not? There's well over 20-25 productions and nothing. And it can't be quality because all kinds of people get these awards. So don't blame it on quality. Come on. Sanjoy, please. What do I have to do to lobby for I want one, because a theatre award will always be appreciated because people think, you deserve it. Film awards and anything else is all bullshit. We all know that. So this is the one thing, where a person has worked hard and is appreciated by the peers actually, especially the plays we do, which nobody watches. So, it has to be the 10 peers who sort of found out about it. So please, may I press you for an award?
Absolutely.
Will you?
You can begin by doing a digital play for 2021 and send it in.
Who watches digital plays? It's so tough. Yeah, my daughter and I were forced to watch one for the school, etc. But it's really hard to stay interested. You're not in that live ambience.
Theatre and dance, it's a nightmare trying to get your head around the Zoom box thingy.
Yeah, that's what I have a theory. My theory is that because you don't wear pants while watching the performance, you're really not in it. When you go for a live thing, you have to wear pants. Once you wear pants, you're totally in it because you've worked hard and you look and you're there. You've also come to the party, so to speak, which you don't do when you're just relaxed at Zoom and you're looking at your phone and you're looking around and plus they can't capture you because it's a small screen after some time. It's very tough. But why am I telling you? You know more than me about this. My God, but there's so much. What is this Dawn musical? We don't have too much time. This Dawn musical guide based on R.K. Narayan's novel. What is that? You did Dawn, the Hindi film?
It wasn't Dawn, a Hindi film. This was at the back of Ye Hai Mumbai Meri Jaan and Bollywood Love Story. What happened was, the Edinburgh Festivals commissioned me to write and direct a play. And I'm like, no, bad idea. I said, no, Bollywood had just come into being, blah, blah, blah. And they really wanted something at Traverse. And Traverse is a place that, it is the sort of holy grail for theatre. And I was most reluctant and they were most enthusiastic. And, they were putting a lot of money into it. So I said, okay, we'll do something. Anyway, we took Suhela's play and we, I sort of massacred it, but we turned it into a musical. And for some reason, people loved it and I hated it. I mean, I thought it was just beyond ghastly and it got awards and, it went on tour. And at one point of time, this German, Landgraf, which is the biggest German touring company, Niels came to me one day and he said, I really want to commission to take this to Germany. And I said, no way, this has to die. I hate this production. I really hate it. So he said, no, but we'll really sell. I said, no, it's okay. I'll write a new one in, 2035 or whatever. And he said, okay, €1 million. €1 million for theater? I'm like...
I hope you didn't send one of your guys to pick it up.
And I'm like, say that again? He said, yes, the whole thing will cost about €1 million, blah, blah, blah. I will, tour Austria, Hungary, Belgium. So I was like, okay, let's talk about it. In 3 years, I promise to do it. I've always been a fool in that sense. So 3 years later, of course, I'd forgotten. This guy arrives in London. We're in the midst of a big conference there. He says, I've come to sign the contract. This is the date that you had accepted. I said, okay, but I have to go somewhere. I signed the contract and I said, hey, I'll be back in a second. I forgot that he was in the building. This was at the Royal Society of the Arts. We had walked off to this reception, which was in an underground basement where there was no signal. So this poor man, till 9 o'clock, till he was turned out of the RSA, he was waiting there, hoping that I would take the second copy. cut a long story short, fast forward 6 months, my colleagues are like, where is this play that you've had to write? And I'm like, next week. And they said, no, the deal is that on the 1st of January, the play has to be, what I have to write has to be on the table. So anyway, I was at Heathrow on my way back, on my way to America, wherever. So I sat and I wrote the play, came back, we produced it.
You wrote the play on a flight?
Yeah, it's the best place to write anything, right? 8 hours or 14 hours or 12 hours. Hey, that's the only downtime you have. Otherwise we get captured having conversations on Zoom.
But to put the story in perspective, the guy came back after 3 years on the dot. You didn't speak to him, no corresponding, nothing. On the dot in 3 years.
On the dot.
It's like a mythological play.
Yeah, well, it's like, the horseman from the apocalypse sort of riding out from behind you.
There you go. Or the reverse of Waiting for Godot. He just actually turns up bang on time.
Bang on time.
And he waited patiently. This is so un-Indian.
And Cyrus, so the play now opens, and we opened at Zug. Zug is in Switzerland, about 50 miles up from Zurich. And I'm like, who comes to watch these things? I mean, can you imagine? In an opera house in Zug, you're opening Bollywood Love Story or Dawn or whatever.
What audience then? Like it's a mixed audience or Desi audience?
It's only because the way these guys do it, they sell it forward. And they sell it at a 80 to 120 euro ticket price.
Right.
So no person of Asian origin either
unless they can sell it for higher
or shows up. So what used to happen? So you used to have all of these people in love with a Shah Rukh Khan sort of Bollywood-esque image, and it really was about Shah Rukh Khan. And they come dressed in their version of what a sari is, kitschy, horrible-looking things with a little bindi, come backstage and hang in there to go with the cast back to the hotel for, post whatever entertainment.
Meet and greet.
And my contract was that I had to be at every new country. When we open a country, I had to be there for 2 days. So each time I used to go, I used to see the sort of pass on of the cast from city to city to the next group of young people who were happy to host them.
So suffice it to say, Sanjoy Roy, you are responsible for that sign outside Mount Titlis, which I saw when we visited as a family, which says in Hindi, in Devanagari, "Thukna karna mana hai." It's written very clearly. So I think it's you, the Desi influence, which has caused all this. Okay, great. I think we'll get in the others now. We'll take a quick break. We'll get in the others. So much more to talk about. We'll also now freewheel about life in general because we think we're the philosophers of the day or the decade, actually. Will you join us, Sanjoy, for that?
Yep, happy to.
All right. I love the plates in the background and I love the hair. We'll talk to you about conditioner and shampoo and how important it is, a role that people in society must reflect upon before they actually get these products. I feel people shampoo their hair too often and conditioner too little. We'll discuss that. But first, take a break.
Namaskar, dear friends. My name is Ashish Vidyarthi. Life, as you know, is a journey. And you and I, travelers, how can we celebrate this travel? I have a podcast for you, Begin the Journey. I share stories and moments from my life. Do tune in every Monday and Thursday to listen to my podcast on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from. Cheers.
All right, we're joined on the other side of the break with Amit, who seems to have just woken up.
Actually, not that far apart from what's reality today. I woke up very late today.
There you go. The voice of reason, Amit Doshi. And then we have Silvery, who represents anything under the age of 25, the type of people I hate and detest. And Sanjoy Roy and myself, I dare say, of the same vintage, born in the late 90s.
Hey, I'm 32.
I'm 32B myself, but I can't show you my chest. I have to move the comp. Right here. Before we get into that, anybody wants to ask Sanjoy any questions about the Jaipur Literary Festival? Because you guys have written books and have never been appreciated for your efforts.
There's one question, if I can ask,
Please.
for Mr. Sanjay. It comes from a person called Blind Eye. That's his username. It says, why did Sanjay choose Jaipur instead of other cities of India for the Jaipur Lit Fest? Any special reason?
It was an accident, like most things. Harvard Business School teaches a case study on this whole, Jaipur Literature Festival, how we had a 5-year, 10-year, 15-year plan to take over the world. But it was an accident. I mean, in Edinburgh, when we used to do a lot of work in Edinburgh in the 2000s, John and Faith Singh from Anokhi had come down because they're doing stuff in built heritage. And they sort of like, whoa, this is about built heritage, meeting the arts and creating value. You have to do a festival in Jaipur. And I'm going, no. I don't know Jaipur. I don't know anything. I'm not coming there. But we did help them start a festival called the Jaipur Virasat Heritage Festival, in which there was a literary segment which 5 people used to go to. So when the larger festival went pear-shaped because of all of the obvious reasons that festivals go pear-shaped, they were like, how can you let your baby die? You have to come and rescue it. And I'm going, you keep the big festival, we'll take the little festival, and that's how Jaipur Literature Festival was born. So in many ways, it was an accident of circumstances. If we'd done a dipstick survey that Harvard says that we did, we'd have been laughed out of hearth and home in terms of where it was. But there was also a sort of sense of, there was logic to that madness. We've always felt that, if like Delhi will never be a festival city, neither will Bombay.
Why?
London is not a festival city.
Why not?
Because Bombay is too big. You can have Kala Ghoda or you can have the Bandra festival, but you can't have a whereas if you do something in Mahabaleshwar or Pune or Ghatkopar, what's the place where the trams are now being allowed or not being allowed? Or
Matheran, I think.
Matheran. Maybe you'll have a great festival, but not in Bombay.
But Sanjay, I beg to differ again, because Mumbai begins and ends, starts in Kulaba, and for us, me and Amit at least, it ends at Walkeshwar. We don't really consider the rest of it anything. So your festival will be in a 4.4 kilometer stretch, not more. So please come to our South Mumbai festival. We disregard the rest. Am I right, Amit? Fair enough?
Well, I have an office in Khar, so I don't know if that's really true.
You cross to the other city where the other people live, and then you can enjoy yourself there with Khar people. Yeah. So I like early MTV because our bosses were all South Bombay guys. So they kept everything in Tardio. Then finally Parel, no further. Then one day we changed bosses and it went to Andheri. That was the beginning of the end, man. Next week, roadies appeared on television. You can see the correlation. Unbelievable.
Nice. All right,
Anyway.
let's get to the topics.
Yes.
For everyone watching this live stream, please like and subscribe to our
Why?
channel.
Don't say that. I hate it. Please don't say that.
No.
Don't like. It's like you're forcing
No,
people.
please. I mean, we're asking them, we're requesting them to please like it. It helps with the algorithm.
Thumbs down.
for us
Do
to
the
discover
thumbs
it.
down.
Thumbs
whatever.
down, yeah.
I mean, if you don't like it, you
Throw
can,
hate.
but
Throw hate. Think of this as America and Delhi. Throw hate.
No, express yourself. Don't listen to what we have to say. I hate that. People come and ask us, will you advise the government? No, I can't advise the government. It's wrong.
okay.
By the way, I just
thanks,
love
we-
the plates. I just absolutely love them. May I just segue here for a second as we look at those plates? Are they of some sort of aesthetic value, or is there something more story to it?
Well, each has a story, different parts of the world. But
Tell us one quickly, no?
No, these are boring stories.
You reject my offer to tell a story about a plate? I was hoping you'd go for that's my loser's plate for you, Cyrus. Anyway, we'll go on. So, Silvery, sorry, go on.
All right. So getting to the stories today. Very interesting. January 16th onwards, the biggest vaccination drive in India starting of the COVID vaccine, primarily for healthcare workers, but also for people above 50 years of age, will also be in priority. But primarily for healthcare workers starting.
But Antariksh, has the vaccines been ordered?
Yeah.
I think that we already have like a whole
Has it
batch.
been ordered? Has the order been placed?
With the
Has government placed an order on Mr. Poonawalla that I'm going to buy trizillion vaccines?
Okay, good point. So
In the
the logistical effort hasn't started is the point here.
I would assume that it has to have started. There's no way they can start a 16th
No,
of January.
no, we don't know.
Well, a birdie says that the order hasn't happened.
Yeah, well, the birdie may be right, Amit, because all they are saying in the media is that the date for expected arrival of the vaccine in terms of people getting to use it is 16th. But the logistical argument, how does it actually, the process going to the 16th has not been unraveled. Like the order, where are the vaccines right now, how many will be bought, or how the distribution will actually happen. It's all at the moment just hearsay.
This is okay. All right.
I have a foot in the
Also-
government, so I know.
Also, one thing that I wasn't able to determine is which of the vaccines will start the vaccination drive. There are I think 2 of them that are,
Bharat Biotech
that are
and
approved
then
in
the
India.
Poonawalla
But
vaccine.
Yeah,
But-
AstraZeneca one, no?
yeah,
That's the Poonawalla
Seneca
one.
Well, governments work in mysterious ways, no, Antariksh? I mean, when you do place an order on government, it depends on what the offer is.
We're waiting for the unraveling of the point. Come on, Sanjoy, go for it. Because it's coming from you. We are a little worried about where we stand politically after the Kuwa Farooqi case. Go ahead. Point left of center and tell us what the fault is. We're ready.
Should I be left of center? What is this left of center rubbish stuff?
No, there is truth to that, right? I mean, like without process of knowing of how this is going to happen, everything is academic, right? I mean, like, this is, I'm a little surprised. I didn't know. I mean, like, I thought that, that they were talking about this. I thought that I've been seeing enough going on that there was a real conversation about how they were going to deploy this stuff, right? I mean, like, they've been talking about how they're planning the booths down at like the local level. So, I mean, like, to assume there's no supply, my God, that's insane.
Yeah, they've been having cold runs and they've been having like practice runs and all that. There was one on 8th Jan.
They call it dummy runs and for obvious reasons.
Yeah, dummy. But it did happen. They were doing these practice runs.
I suppose it's a little bit like the Singapore Airlines, right? You can book to have dinner on the flight, which is not going anywhere, or you can take a plane that goes nowhere at all and comes back and lands and stuff like that.
Air India has the same policy, but not by design. Excellent. That's how parallel the two cultures are.
Hey, I like Air India, man.
No, but so do I actually. Let's endorse Air India. Maybe they'll come on board as sponsors. Just like our show, which doesn't fly anywhere. We've got the segment. No, but just to look at the fact that are we just copying the West? Because this whole thing about patronizing the healthcare worker first, my point is after about 1 year in the field, many of them have already fallen or got immune or whatever. And now they say, let's give them the thing first because they're the warriors in the forefront. Then look at the 50 plus. I think wouldn't it be better to just distribute the whole thing according to zones and geographically like you do voting? Voting, how do we get right? Within 24 hours, everybody's there.
But you have an unlimited number of paper. You don't have an unlimited amount of vaccines, no? You have to prioritize in some shape.
Right. Maybe you can share a vaccine, 2 for 1. How much do you need, really? There's so many skinny Indians, malnutrition, don't have enough flesh on them. I've seen them all over the place. Why do you need a full vaccine? Give them a half a vaccine, quarter vaccine. Share. I mean, come on. Oh, the needle issue? Oh, needle will cost. I'm willing to share the needle. I don't give a damn, honestly. Silvery,
you're willing to share a needle?
I'm willing to share a needle. But with people you know. I mean, that's how the whole epidemic started, the other one whose name I won't mention. It's with people you know. Yeah. So, Sanjoy, feel free to jump in at any point and take this conversation back to its intellectual table, which you had started with.
What is interesting about the vaccine is not so much the vaccine is being delivered. It's the fact that everybody thinks that they've got the vaccine and it's cool to be out there in large groups without a mask, etc. And that COVID has actually disappeared, certainly from India. I mean, I don't know about Bombay or Maharashtra, but if you travel like 5 seconds outside of the center of Delhi, COVID, mask, vaccine, maybe on the chin.
No. You might go to the wrong line. You'll be COVID? No, pharma agitation. Go to back of line. But your point is well made. I think for a second, is it possible for you to actually just catch the COVID on your way in, standing in line? Which is like quite ironic because you'll sort of get it and then does the virus vaccine work post you getting it? I mean, that doesn't make sense, right? It's not a cure. It's a vaccine.
It's a vaccine. Sorry, what did you say? I didn't follow what your point was.
You could actually get it. Sanjoy pointed out that you're standing in line for a long time and you're breaking all the social conventions there that have been we've been asked to follow. And you're standing there and what if you get it? Just
while you're going for a vaccine.
While you're going a few minutes away from actually getting the vaccine. So it's actually in your system. Then the vaccine doesn't work as a cure because it's like a double vaccine, in which case you get COVID proper and then,
But it depends if COVID knows that, right? I mean, the virus has to know that you're in the line, you're about to get the vaccine. It's like when the virus went to Dharavi, it was like, what? I'm going to have to stand in line with 6,000 people to take a dump in the same loo. I'm out of here, Chinese, go on. This ain't happening kind of stuff.
Put Sanjoy on the list of people who will get us into trouble. Immediately blacklist him. He's worse than us. Now we're attacking Dharavi, but you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, different strokes for different folks when it comes to the way the virus has behaved, that's for sure. Silvery, what is the final government decision? Do you have any idea?
Okay.
Dispersing the vaccine?
They are starting on the 16th. They haven't changed any plans. So I think that's what it is. Yeah.
And you'll be at the GP, where do you go in the big cities?
5,200 different locations.
500?
They have some
5,200 locations have been identified.
Okay, all right.
So they're using a lot of the hospitals that they had set up for COVID overflow and stuff like that. Municipal schools, they're using a lot of different locations like that where people can go and get these things done.
But they've also promised non-stop electricity. So hopefully everybody will take their laundromats and so on and so forth, plug it into those hospitals.
Well, they need a fridge. Out of those 5,200, whatever happens, they need a fridge. They can't suddenly say, fridge bully you. Now what do we do? Fridge has to be there.
All of this fridge stuff doesn't work anymore.
What do you mean? It's got to be frozen.
Yeah, I mean, it's minus 70. I mean, get some snow, put it in there.
This is why right now it's a challenge for Amazon to deliver because of the damn freezing issue that we've got. Otherwise,
the minus 70 is for the RNA-based
Pfizer.
vaccines. That's for Pfizer and Moderna.
but all of them have to be frozen, Baba.
But
they all have to be cold.
5 degrees.
Yeah, exactly. That's a different number. The AstraZeneca is at -5, which is a much more manageable number.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe
Start
four
with
guys.
Churu, Rajasthan. Churu, Rajasthan is a -3 right now.
Anyway, if you're listening to this podcast, please understand we are four guys relatively related more to the arts on the art field.
Oh yeah, we know nothing about this.
We know nothing about the vaccine. Please do not take this as the gospel. And say, Mummy, take care, 5,200 areas. Don't worry, let's walk. I have no idea. I think wait till Channel 17th. We'll have a better understanding of what's happening. 16th
But
is
get
really...
the vaccine. Everybody should get their vaccine.
Well, get the vaccine, yeah. Fair enough. Although I still think there must be a faster way to disperse the vaccine. But again, we're probably not the right people to do it. Yeah.
All right, let's get to the next one.
Go on.
All right. The Tamil Nadu government has announced that from the month of January till April, they'll be giving each student a 2 GB per day data card for free to be able to attend online classes. So that's pretty cool.
It's good they're starting in Tamil Nadu. If they start in UP, it'll be sold in black in the first 5 minutes. Yeah.
But it's also about kickstarting demand, right? There's been a sort of, a slowdown in other kind of literature.
No. Elections are around the corner in Tamil Nadu. Sitting government has to do things. Come on. Let's be cynical here, for sure, 100%. Suddenly, when the word free, especially in the South, when the word free is attached to something, it's always close to elections. You can ask any of your friends who live down South.
But isn't it the way to also couch the fact that you can watch other stuff online and keep yourself entertained?
It is 2 GB a day of a lot of things that you can download.
Yeah, but 2 GB a day is not that much. Like 2 classes, 3 classes, and you're done.
You're done. Talking about classes.
You're talking about classes.
Classes. What classes are you talking about?
That's a lot of staying power, 2 or 3 classes.
Yeah, his teacher-student relationship cinema is totally different from what you imagine. It's got less words, less lessons, and less clothes, as far as I know. Yeah, and rightly so. Big fan of all that. Yeah, so I'm a little cynical. I just think that, these are all sort of, you dip into the bowl of gold and you sort of push it out there for a little while for your agenda. But you think that's a possibility for the future in India one day? Because that's one of the big disparities we're seeing now.
On a more serious note, Amit Sagar, I think the issue is bandwidth. It's all very well saying blah, blah, blah. Sitting at home today in the center of a city, if you have bandwidth and you're able to have a Zoom conversation, you're blessed. And the new divide, earlier it used to be, can you speak English, can you not? Have you been to a Catholic school?
Yeah, it's the Wi-Fi, yeah.
Today it's bandwidth, and that's creating the big new divide, and it's a huge issue.
That's exactly what I'm saying, and it's exposed in these 10 months completely, because our schools will continue with the online classes. Some, not to mention names or whatever, will struggle in certain sectors. And then where do they go forward with this whole thing not ending? Vaccine or no vaccine? So a lot of catch-up has to be played with the disparity in income, different classes, etc. So maybe one free bandwidth and free accessibility, and of course infrastructure of having whatever the cables everywhere.
Giving 2 GB is useless if 2 GB can't be utilized, right? I mean, like a lot of mobile connections are very tough to utilize at this point in time because the tower penetration is not there, which brings us to, all this stuff is interrelated, right? I mean, like nobody wants cell phone towers in their areas.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like that. But you want the bandwidth, right? Yeah. So I mean, like all this stuff kind of feeds into each other.
I'll give you a better metaphor. You don't want the neighbor's wife to look really hot, but you want her in the next lane. So you can casually look at her at time. Just don't have her face.
It's called NIMBY, right? Not in my backyard.
Not in my backyard. Look at my tech geniuses. They go from Bernard Shaw to, whoever invented the internet, whose name I can't remember, from Germany.
Tim Berners-Lee.
Yeah. Sylvie, you've gone to sleep.
No, I'm here.
Yeah, no, but I think that's part of the big problem, right? I mean, like right now in this farmers' agitation, during the course of the agitation, Reliance had to put a statement out saying that we have nothing to do with contract farming. We have no interest in getting into that business because some 30 of their towers got destroyed. Now, their towers getting destroyed means that people can't access education and other services as well, which we've all become increasingly dependent on. These are, they're multi-layered complex issues, right? I mean, like, and people are justified also in not wanting cell phone towers because there aren't enough studies around cell phone towers and in terms of what this is, right? I mean, like what their long-term effects are.
And every time, please say the same thing. Everybody wants a cell phone to us. They just don't want them near you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's be very clear. The hypocrisy is lovely. I love hypocrisy. Let's stay with that.
No, and then what you also have is you have a bunch of people when it comes to cell phone towers talking nonsense like, oh, in my building 8 people got cancer, which has never been proven in any way whatsoever, right? That's never been kind of this. But at the same time, it's never been disproven also to a great degree, right? So nobody...
Amit, it's like the US elections, right?
Cancer took you straight to the US elections. You're gone.
Which is what, we have a cancer which is being excised in.
Is it?
In 9
is there
days.
a revolution or a nuclear war? Nancy Pelosi warns us off within the next 7 days. He attacks Mexico for no reason and says, state of emergency, I have to continue. Yeah.
Man, I don't even know what to say.
I think we interrupted Sanjoy. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, sir, I didn't have a...
You lost interest in the program?
My comment was that, not fake news, but news that continues to circulate not based on fact is news that really catches the attention of most people.
I'll give you a great example. Antriksh had a subject which we were supposed to be talking about, WhatsApp, right? Yeah. And this movement towards Signal that's being promoted right now. Now, what we're all, or Telegram or whatever, right? Yeah. Now, I've been getting so many messages over the last 4 or 5 days saying that, hey, we should move to Telegram because WhatsApp's going to sell our data to advertisers. Now, the fact
that's true, right?
No, it's not true.
No, it's not true. Plus, if you've already downloaded Google Auntie, how does it matter?
Exactly.
Google Auntie knows everything. And then you have an Aadhaar card. I mean, hello.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? I mean, like...
The worry is only the WhatsApp conversations, honestly.
But that's not what's happening.
Financial or sexual.
The problem is that's not at all what's happening. What's happening is that WhatsApp terms of services do not allow WhatsApp to talk to other parts of the business at this point in time. WhatsApp is making a change in the terms of services because they now have WhatsApp business accounts. Okay. WhatsApp business accounts are people who are running stores via WhatsApp where you can say, okay, deliver me something of this and they can bill you and all of that. Now the business stores have the ability to be hosted using Facebook services.
Right.
Okay, so your functionality that you get can happen via Facebook services. And this is the narrow change in terms of services that is occurring right now. And instead, what I'm getting is I'm getting moral panic messages from all my cousins saying, hey, let's move to Facebook. Let's move to Signal because otherwise what's going to happen is that our WhatsApp group chats are going to be read by Facebook. And the thing is that you don't have to worry about WhatsApp. Okay, people don't realize 2 things. One is you're not as special as you think you are. Okay, so all that stuff that you say, you're not.
Just clarify. I understand that. That's the algorithm looking at the things that are common and getting to a factor about the guy thinks. But what about the specific conversations? If Silvery, for example, is in love with an 80-year-old man, they have a very sexual conversation about asphyxiation during sex. I mean, that's their personal business. Can that be now displayed on Facebook and everywhere else?
No, but what they're saying is that
that's what people are worried about.
Yeah, about personalized ads. Like, what if I start getting ads for like adult vibrators?
Vibrator or something, because that is sexual content.
Again, you should be worried more about what Airtel, what Jio, what all of the ISPs know about you. They know everything.
Damn you!
They know
Stop the podcast.
Everything.
Call my lawyer. What the hell's going on?
WhatsApp has much narrower access to what you do. Facebook has much narrower access to what you do.
We shouldn't fear this so-called commonality of knowledge passing between one and the other.
It is a very narrow piece that they are saying that, hey, for people who are running business accounts, if you have a personal account which is interacting with a business account, we need to pass this information on to Facebook because this business account services are hosted on Facebook. That's it. Right? So now if you don't want to do that, don't interact with any business accounts on WhatsApp, but that you don't want to do. Everybody wants to use all the facilities in the world, but they don't want to pay the price for any of them.
Disclaimer, as in the case of the vaccine and the proliferation of vaccines, we are not the right for...
Actually, in this case, I know my shit.
I know you do, but I'm still saying let's just keep it out there. Just because of the 20% chance for, error.
Fair enough. No, in the case of vaccines, I know nothing, but in this case, I kind of know what I'm talking about.
Amit, again, it goes back to the vote analogy, right? You'll vote, you want a person, but if that person doesn't get elected, it's like, oh, the vote is shit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way. The process is shit. It's been stolen. He's a baddie. He's got more votes ever. Hey, you've got more votes than whom? And you're the president in the vote. Okay, but there's somebody else who trumped you on that. Yeah. Bad use of the word Trump there.
Really unnecessary. We said last week in office and all that, and we're still clinging to him. The residue will be how long? The residual effect. How many jokes can we carry on with Trump? That's if he actually goes.
But he's here to stay. I mean, the issue here is that he and his brand of politics that we're seeing across the world. It's not just restricted to the United States.
And brand Trump is still big for Republican Party, no matter how many of them are defecting against him or whatever you want to say. So,
but there is a question to be asked, right? I mean, like, by being deplatformed by Twitter, WhatsApp, Facebook, Amazon shut Parler down, right? Which was the
alternate deplatformed.
Basically, they're not allowing them to be on it. So the real Donald Trump is shut permanently.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Facebook, his account is gone, right? I mean, like, Amazon shut down the services that they were providing to Parler, which was the right-wing Twitter, right? That was there, right? Because they're like, and so the thing is that
our right-wing Twitters and all that.
But see, there is a difference in that sense, because our right-wing Twitter right now is not inciting violence. When they start inciting violence, and Indian Twitter is not treated as
towards comedians, they incite violence, including Mr.
That's not entirely true. Goli Maro Saloko is pretty much,
you're right. Exactly. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And that was a cabinet minister.
Yeah. But I think that these rules are being applied more in the US than they're being applied in India right now, because I think they don't know how to deal with India yet. But they will get there. Right, and the same rules will start getting applied in that sense. Also,
I think will not get there right now.
They will.
There is they'll get all over. But the issue again is that these people have so much of power that if you don't have due process, if you decide to ban X or Y, can you do that across the world, across the platform, or is it geographically specific? I think Colorado, I will ban you. Bad puppy.
Yeah, but Sanjay, what are we doing? How are you going to decide what is right-wing, extremist, dangerous? Okay, where you say, to attack people, fair enough. That's very clear. But there's so much gray area, like comedians. Just for a second to segue, there's a small batch of English-speaking comedians who service 20 people per city. You want to attack them, put them in jail, beat them up. I mean, and all kinds of ass. Sylvie knows more about this than me. But isn't the language that's used again to troll them? Whenever we've had an incident, absolutely vile. That female comic from the Northeast comes to mind immediately. She was abused, raped, and words like that. I mean, and Hindi can be even more ferocious language when it comes to galis. So I'm just saying, it's going on. Trump is a big fish and he has to be caught, and he's on his way down. The winds of change are happening, but here I don't know.
So from a platform perspective, right? I'll just talk from a platform perspective, right? If you're Twitter, right, you have to make decisions about what you are going to ban and what you are going to allow, right? Now, on what basis do you make these decisions? Right? These are not easy problems to solve, right? Because just because you disagree with something doesn't mean that should be banned. But at the same time, that also means that you have to draw lines in terms of what you're going to allow and what you're not going to allow. Now,
what happened to free speech then? We go back to, we sound like hypocrites. We began these podcasts talking about free speech. Let the neo-Nazi rant.
Hold on. Free speech is a government action thing. It is not a private company thing. Okay, the government in the case of Munawar has put him in jail. It is not Twitter who has put him in jail, right?
Let's go back to the argument that you're coming up with, which is basically the fact of the matter is that we can't have it both ways, because it's a relative thing. Now, what Sanjay thinks is I've crossed the line, and what Silvery thinks is I've crossed the line.
What about Twitter's free speech to decide who they want to and they don't want to?
So you're going to the restaurant has the right to refuse you patronage because you just don't like your face.
100%.
So then it's purely like a private enterprise where the private entrepreneur just does what he wants.
Well, no, it's not really that either. See, there are arguments to be made because, again, there are questions of public access to if you're part of a marketplace, right? Like, on what basis do we say that people are not allowed to deny housing to different religious communities, right? You should not be able to do that, right? That is the same thing that you have to, if you're servicing a public market, you cannot discriminate in how you service it. Right, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that you can't have rules.
Internet laws will have to come into place, which will be as cumbersome and complex as anything in the history of man.
Because it's hard, man. It's a hard problem to solve.
But look at the lobbies that there are in the world. Forget India alone. I mean, long hair versus short hair. I don't like bikers. I mean, forget the big philosophies of the world. Just think of the small petty arguments you have in your building. Garbage disposal, etc. I mean, the abuse and the sort of line in the sand that you'll draw and then pick a fight. Ouch.
Yeah, this shit's hard, dude. I mean, like, it really is hard.
Ban the internet. China is right. Ban the internet.
Or make our own little intranet the internet.
No, just shout from the window and chat like the old days. Manish, coming for cricket. It works so well for me, yaar. All right, should we do AMAs? Because Sanjay has to go. He's a busy man. He's not like us.
Sure. Just one thing, though, for Amit. I have a question. Isn't it like a huge factor that these companies like Twitter and Facebook are American-based and have a better understanding of what's happening in America than in other countries?
Yeah,
that's why it's easier for them to understand who to ban there than to.
No, I think
you're right. But they have representation in India. It's a huge market. What are you saying, Silvery? Why do you think we had that controversial thing with one of them stepping down? Remember, with the BJP trolling and you guys remember that story? I won't get into it.
Facebook, India's Facebook's second largest market in the world. I mean, finally, this is
it is the largest market.
It's about
and we've got
political
local
power.
people in management here who are watching the ball, so to speak, cricket point of view.
Yeah.
But do you have the guts to, take the bull by the horns is the question.
I think guts is one part of it, but see again, as much, as much shit as people give America about corporate press, this, that, they were able to say what they wanted to say. We don't have that same freedom over here.
You don't have the freedom.
That's just true.
For my jury is still out on this whole thing because I don't know how you can have it both ways. You have to live with the bad, or the bad from your perspective.
You do. I agree with you. You do have to live with the bad, but that doesn't mean that you can't set up certain rules, right? Even in press, right? Even with written this, right? You're not allowed to libel somebody. There are certain platform rules that are there, right? Over here, you have to have similar platform rules. You're not allowed to incite somebody. These are things which are not allowed. So you have to figure out those platform rules.
You have to put into place hygiene, and you have to be able to counter power in the way that it needs to be countered. Otherwise, we are collectively
reverse totalitarianism from the left-wing media. Okay, let's go to the AMAs as quickly as possible, Mr. Silvery, because again, it's really too late. Our sponsor told us 40 minutes and we're 6 minutes up. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So everybody, please do help us out with our survey if you haven't filled it out yet. It's on ivmpodcast.com/survey. This survey is really helpful for us. And, fill out the survey completely and we'll put you into a lucky draw and we will send you some IVM swag. And what a great week of episodes we had and what an eventful week we had. Let me run through some of the episode highlights really quickly. On Pesa Vesa, Samir Nair of Applause Entertainment was on to discuss the web series Scam 1992. Great conversation with Anupam was had. Do check that out. Bhavish Sumaya of Hasbro was on Advertising is Dead. On Positively Unlimited, Chitna is starting a new series from A to Z. This week, Align. Do check that out. And on GabyCD, Farhad and Sunitra asked the question, what if they were straight? Interesting conversation. Definitely do check that out. I think you'll enjoy that. And one piece of news for you guys. Cyrus Says is now live on YouTube every weekday at 10 a.m. If you go to our IVM Podcast YouTube channel, you'll be able to catch us over there. And stay tuned for a lot more video content coming out in the next couple of weeks. And with that, let me get you back to your show.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me.
All right. The first question comes in from M. Arun Ayar. He says, this is for Mr. Sanjay. He says, what are your favorite bookstores in Delhi and around India? Especially since a lot of stores have closed recently and most corporate chains carry limited collections of books.
So physical bookstores, what you're saying. They close and become online.
Well,
Sanjay?
Full Circle, Bahari Sons, Om Books. I mean, there's a whole slew of bookstores here. But internationally, anybody who goes to Seattle, go to the Elliott Bay Bookshop, which is, just astonishing. It's one of the most beautiful bookstores in the world. And then if you want secondhand books, go to Hay on Wye. Beautiful stores.
Do they also mark their books like we do? When you pick up the book, you'll find a little corner being tipped or page being torn out here and there?
No, the way they mark their books is actually every group of books, you'll have somebody who's read it and given you their comment, handwritten comment on it. So it's really beautiful.
But is that allowed or is it like a convention that people just follow?
It's a convention. I mean, it's like when you're asked to review a book, but you sort of just do a précis of it on the book.
I remember, sorry to bring this up, but there was one, I can't remember, it was Nicholas and Nicholas, Charles Dickens film, a book. I remember in the library, and somebody had done this in St. Xavier's College, and they'd written right at the back, too long. Because that was the one thing everybody read, not the book. Not to put Dickens down, but it can be highly boring.
Dickens is highly
Charles
boring.
Dickens without a drink is, for me, I will not get into a debate with Mr. Roy, who may find it was the best of worlds, it was the worst of worlds.
So I think Dickens is written as a web serial, right? I mean, it's a weekly writing. So I mean, there's a beginning and end to every week thing, which gets a little tiresome to read.
Now you want to critique it? I just say I find it tedious passages, even Oliver Twist, just nothing, whatever. Maybe we just want instant gratification. It became worse and worse with each generation, God knows. But Sanjay is keeping quiet, which is a very scary thought. He's holding back. He wants to spit on us. The Philistines who dare discuss Dickens in front of him. His hair is standing up and he's angry now.
The good thing is, just before this, we said everything is cool, right? Anybody can say anything about everything.
That's right. Yeah. Free forum.
Go against that.
The idiocy is key. See, the whole idea of democracy is the idiot has a voice. Isn't that what it actually means? Yeah. So fair enough. Can you get a quick one in, Sanjay?
Yeah, let's do one more.
Yeah, one more. This one is again for the Sanjay only. Do you think there is an English bias in literary fests as opposed to more regional content?
English language bias or British bias?
English language bias. Yeah, English language bias.
Sanjay.
In India right now, there's about 187 literature festivals that sort of find inspiration from what we do in Jaipur. One of the problems with Jaipur is that the media focuses on the big names, which principally become the big names in English. Every year, we sort of have at least 16 different languages, Indian languages. But nobody focuses on that until and unless you're Gulzar or Javed Akhtar or Prashun Joshi or But if we were to have a Surjit Pathar, and he's won a number of awards at the festival in Punjabi, you wouldn't get that same kind of attention, or Joy Goswami in Bengali. The bias is
Joy
not so
Goswami.
Much. Joy Goswami.
Not
Sanjoy, but Joy Goswami.
No, I was saying not Arnab, because suddenly someone listening would be like, yes, he wrote another book. Yeah.
But that's the issue. It's the bias sits in the mind of the press and the way that is reported. Not necessarily in festivals, but absolutely that there is a need. I keep telling every festival who sets themselves up and comes to us for advice, I'm like, what is the USP? If you're in Jhumri Talaiya, can you please be a platform for writers in that language from that place and not necessarily copy us? We have an advantage of being first movers, but beyond that.
Yeah, the proud Indian identity which has gone missing.
Not just proud Indian. Cyrus, the exciting thing today is that the stories that you get across languages, those are the real stories. And they're incredible. Yes, you're being able to make them accessible through translation, which is, and the kind of real life experiences that people
retelling,
from
you're right
on the land. It's incredible. So there's no denying that. And there is a problem. There is a bias, yes. But the bias is...
a sample of, I think of what you're saying. May I give a sample? My dad's conversation growing up while driving a car, our old Fiat, I remember, would go through 3-4 languages. And if I was to retell it, would be interesting in its own, but you can't translate it. For example, if a dog was crossing the road, he'd say like, "Su courage dikra, aste ja, go slowly," like that. And if a man crossed the road, he'd shout in his bad Marathi, "Kutre chapillu, ai zarya," and we'd keep changing the mode. So I wish someone would write a book where everything comes in, and vaguely you understand without having to actually translate and maybe lose a little in the translation.
I mean, the nuance that we have in our languages, like in Bengali, you'd say "pet jhede paikhana," meaning you're dusting your stomach out and doing your potty, meaning it's like you're beating a rug. How do you translate that into any other language? Or a naka is not a nakhre wali.
I'll vote TMC on that ground alone. Oops! Everyone awkward silence.
I have no understanding of the references.
Ramifications. This is a stupid podcast. Don't worry. Neither BJP or TMC is going to write to us. No. We make no dent in their policies. I think, are we run out of time? Is this it?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yep. People are already calling and saying, "Shut the F up." Fair enough. So we'll see everybody tomorrow on the podcast. It's live. It's called Cyrus Says. We thank Sean Joy Roy, for giving us a little bit of his time, and hope to hear from him again. By the way, just one last word. Do you shampoo every day?
No, I use an Ayurvedic oil once a week, and I use
but what do you use on your hair?
Organic Avalon shampoo.
Wow.
I shampoo every day.
Amit, learn. That's how you get Amit, we got it. But that's how you get a sponsor. Did you see? He actually did a proper promo.
I saw that.
There you go. All right. Cheers, everybody. Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter, on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Feeling overwhelmed, anxious, struggling with too many obstacles, don't know where your life is headed? Well, if you are dealing with one or all of these, tune into the Positively Unlimited podcast, because in each episode, I share a life lesson, a life hack, a pro tip that can help you get your life back on track. All episodes are available on the IBM website, IBM Podcast app, or wherever it is that you get your podcast from.
Come learn and experience the ABCDs of being queer with me, Shinetro,
and me, Farhad,
on our show, Gay BCD.
The two of us take you through our stories and experiences of being gay men in the city of Mumbai and have candid
and sometimes downright scandalous
conversations about sexuality, gay culture, and everything in between.
Catch new episodes of Gay BCD every Tuesday on the IBM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get all your podcasts from.